So when I was 23, I made a really dumb decision, because I was 23. I feel like, now that I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, it was probably dumb. Like, it was. So I was married for 9 whole months at 23. My husband slept with 5 other women while we were married. It took me 5 years and a lot of sleeping around to figure out how much that hurt. But I wanted to be loved so badly that I made that decision. I also bought a house in 2005 after I got divorced. Do you remember what happened in California shortly after that? Yeah, lost that house in 2008. My credit is stellar now, though. It'll be over soon, I promise. But I think a lot of the decisions that I made in my 20s, I was trying to think about, like, okay, so my life looks pretty amazing now, but it's because of all that crap that I went through, all of the stuff that happened. I've had some really, like, anything that could have happened to a human being has happened to me except for, like, internal diseases. Like, I'm just like, okay, let's not put that in I'm not manifesting that. I'm gonna just stay healthy and do anything I can because everything else seems to have gone down the toilet. But I figured it out. Like, I've lost my job and I started a business. I did it on purpose. I moved into my office. I got rid of my apartment. I got rid of all my stuff. I could afford an apartment, but I was like, you know what? I want to make a big decision, but I don't want to commit to anything for a while. So I moved into literally, it used to be like the little room and like there's cornfields and nobody's talking right now. No one's in the car. So why am I moving into my office? And I was like, okay, if this is really you, I want my queen bed to fit in that damn closet. I measured it. It fit exactly to the door. And exactly the height of my bed fit that direction. Exactly. What I didn't realize is I was really there working on mine. As much as I was helping them and inspiring them and giving them places to have conversations, I was really figuring out how I needed to show up for myself. And at the end of a year and a half, that happens. And joy showed up in my life more than I've ever seen it. And I'm a pretty happy person normally, but man, the most miserable condition, such an impact on me that in such miserable conditions, like the worst of the worst, they were the happiest people. And it was a choice, fully a choice. And I had to realize that choice was like, they'll tell you, it's not necessarily true, but I can make the decision. You feel better? Or you go volunteer, you feel better? That's typically how that works. If you can show up for yourself, even if it's the worst possible day, you can always show up for somebody else. So I would like you to stand up with me for just a moment. I don't necessarily bring notebooks anymore, so. It's in the bag that they gave you at the front desk.
We have notebooks in our bag.
Yeah, that's not it either. There's a little one that says Rock Your Life on it. Uh-oh. You don't know this, the AV guys? Can we give them a hand really quick? He's like, it's going to be okay. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. It always is. So the shortest distance between truth and human being is story. How many of us tell our story and then we make friends because of it? Yes, exactly. Raise your hand if you've ever done that. Exactly. So figure out your story. So this is Mindy. Mindy's one of my speaker trainers. I do a speaker training twice a year to teach people how to get on stage and do this, but from who they are. And Mindy is an ex-Air Force officer. She used to be an intelligence briefer. She used to go to like the secretary of the Air Force and like tell them stuff. And I'm like, that's a lot, because going from Cambodia to, and she told this story on my stage when I first had her come speak about how she had, when she was 18, to go from Cambodia to Vietnam. And they get to the border on the bus, and I love telling the story because she used it. And so I'm standing there hoping that the bus doesn't leave me because they're not letting me leave. And I don't know what to do, and I can see in their eyes that this is much more of a be taken pretty easily. And I looked to my right, and I saw this little old woman sitting with a fruit basket on the ground. And until they story. That's a little tiny perspective from her life. But it's something that other people are like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine having that happen. I like the chills every time I think about it, because I'm like, but what if she wasn't there? To us, whether we remember them or not. And how can we make sure that we go through those things to make sure that we can correct some of the things, fix some of the things, work on some of the things, or even figure them out? Because sometimes if we just know about them, we're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And now I can get through it and figure it out. But a lot of these defining moments are things that other people have told me. was like, yes, and the thing. No, good job. Okay, so she's still talking with her hand up. Okay, so I have a microphone, and what I would like you to do is I would like someone to raise their hand. You don't have to ask permission of the other person. So if they share something super intimate, I don't want you to share with the whole group if they don't want you to. Sure.
After the doctor said it never happened. Remarried, and she's extremely happy.
Yay!
And so that can happen.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she's always been wanting to start her own company, but never has had that oomph.
Keep going. There's more here.
So when you said we're in the seat we're supposed to be in, I'm watching Mercedes. I see her at work all the time. We pass each other and say hi, but never for real conversation. I'm watching her body language the whole time. So when we started talking, I said, I need to share this story with you. Oftentimes, I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I'm not supposed to be in a room, and I feel like a fraud. I feel like everybody's going to notice it, so I try not to be noticed. And I said, I think you feel the same thing. And her face just lit up like, oh my goodness, what are you talking about? And so
She's like, you can see that?
right. So we just started sharing again.
My hair was this long until 5 years ago. And I fit in everywhere. Guess what happens now? Screw fitting in. All right. I'm pointing at you, sir. Yes. He said if you point at me, it'll happen. All right, you've heard this before, I feel like. Pointing. I'm just going to hold my arm out like this. Okay, so the very first question on your sheets. No! Go back! Everyone's like, oh, I'm like, what? Oh. Yes, tutus are awesome. I'm going back.
Good, excellent.
Do you actually get one, like with your certification? I don't know.
And Springfield is in the house as well. So I'm really excited to see so many folks here, and I really appreciate you coming. Just a little bit of background, and I really appreciate Barbie's introduction. She is a Hoosier. She went to IU, and then I married a Buckeye in May of 2017, and she just began her second year in veterinary school. And I always say it's like the NFL draft to get into med school, so I have to brag about this. So it was a very mission-driven approach to mentorship, and I really want to emphasize that. One of the programs that I started, I guess, 2.5 years ago, was called SOAR, Serving Our Own Through Advancement and Retention. It's kind of funny because it's not that funny, but our mascot is an eagle, so SOAR makes sense. But SOAR is the name of the program. We choose 3 faculty and 3 full-time staff members every year to participate in a very intense, what their future goals are, long-term as well as short-term. And then it's my job, along with theirs, to help them realize those goals. So let me just tell you a story.
That you say to yourself. If you don't have something, say it what you've heard, right? Sometimes it is simple as shut up. So on your pink paper, like 49 minutes to rewrite our story. We're in a summit meeting here, changing the world. Write it on your pink sheet. As soon as you have it written, stand up. And you're always throwing my rock on somebody else. Who am I? Rewrite the story. Right? So you all should have a white sheet. Again, remember, I'm just going to keep moving on. If you have questions or if you want to make a comment, jump up or raise your hand because I am more of a... All right, so on your... Remember, I did take a few notes, which is amazing. On your white sheet, draw a little circle in the center, anywhere out here. This is for you. Nobody's collecting them. You're not going to throw those at me. And use a big paper. And I want you to draw, or just write I am in the center of that circle. What are some of the things, when you think of a child, an infant, what are some of the things you think of for the baby?
Crying.
Crying?
I think so.
Crying. No.
Joy.
I didn't hear the share.
Independent.
Independent. Sweet, kind.
Step one is the largest step today. Have an example of, well, when LinkedIn, sorry, I'm gonna back up a minute. On the back of this, you can see how LinkedIn classifies the strength of your profile, and what we're shooting for is an all-star profile. So when you have everything all lined up, all of those
meet them face to face. And if you're connecting and the feeling that you get from them is, this is somebody I'd like to meet, versus someone that I'm not so sure about this person, or there's something of them.
Well, and even if this wasn't, versus smiling, think about when you're at a networking event. If someone's smiling at their table or at their booth, you're going to walk up to them,
Circle, because I know you build more, but I only have an hour. Like $250 an hour.
To start.
To start. Well, I got let go of possible in the world. I worked for a seminar company, and we worked with the very, 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 very rich to the very, 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 very poor, and they had one thing in common. What do you think it is? Some of you know the answer. Relationships. Am I a good mother? Am I a good daughter? I want to know who they were and why, and I was out to save the world. That's what I thought. And I was behind the scenes.
Well, leading up to it, I was in my second marriage, and we had 3 children, had a job at first. In January, I started getting these bizarre phone calls from collectors. I'm like, what's going on? Well, it turned out that was the preceding event to my second divorce. In January, we filed bankruptcy. In April, we were divorced. In July, I went through 2 jobs. They closed my division of 10.5 years, and I got it back. What you want in your life is up to you. Nobody else is going to make your dreams come true for you. What I know in hindsight, a lot of great companies in Cincinnati, right? They said, who did you get a job with? How much are you making? And they couldn't stop the questions. And I said, well, I don't think you're familiar with this company. They're like, well, what is it? I said, well, I'm going to be selling mobile homes. They're like, what? I came from the shoe industry. Okay? And they said, well, how much are they going to pay you? I said, well, that depends on how much I sell. Yes, it's going to be okay, Mom and Dad. So I was doing really well because I was supporting myself and 3 children. And I didn't have to worry about the 2 extra. And I went up to him and I said, hey, how you doing? And we chatted, and she's just looking at me like, what? And I said, I think you still owe me a lunch. And she looked at me like, what? And he said, okay, you're right. Let's do this next week. We thought the girls couldn't meet the guys. Decided I needed to start working on Sundays. How many of you know your biggest obstacles lead you to the greatest joys in your life? Right? You don't see it when you're in the middle of it, but in hindsight, that's always the way it goes. So I was making good money in this job. And Tony owned a small cleaning. I said, I agree. What are we going to do? So we decided it's time for me to quit that job and join the family business. I remember that phone call too. Hey, Mom and Dad, I quit my job. Yeah, I'm going to be a janitor with Tony. That was 25 years ago. So yeah, but he said to me one time, I was asking him basically to tell me how to handle a situation with a customer. Days later, and that was our cycle. We had no clear idea for the future. Basically, we owned a job that kept us busy 24/7. So we were not getting any younger in our industry who knew about processes and efficiencies, and he was going to make our dreams come true. We hired him for a 5-day contract. He was coming in on Monday. He came in, we met over dinner, figured out a plan. I went home, took care of the kids while him and Tony went out to some of the buildings we were cleaning, and then the plan. So here we had payroll to payroll, no plan for the future, and we got fired by a consultant. That's crazy. I didn't know you could do different questions to be able to get to where we want to be. And the first question we had to do is, okay, what would we have to do to create a company where somebody would want to work for us?
I'm just gonna wear it every day. That's pretty much just what's happening. It's fine. You know how I don't feel like I get it. And I didn't know if it was gonna be happening. Is it? Because it was so hot this morning. Yeah.
Got it. Grab those right here. Yeah, and we can start doing digital copy. And it's meant to be interactive, as you know. So for example, if you wanted some people like the flying cat, or I'm a farm girl, so let me bring in the cow. This button here makes it smaller, bigger. It doesn't object. And then when I get bored, I can just make the cow. And then you make your selections. But it's meant to be interactive.
That's really cool. Should I put a parrot on your shoulder?
That'd be funny. Especially my lovely birds.
Okay.
Oh, here. Do you want the cow peeking up?
Oh. You said double tap?
Double tap.
There he goes.
I'm sorry?
Oh, there's the
I
flying
think
cat.
there's a pterodactyl, but like. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, I'm touching everything.
No, you're not.
All right, and then what do you want, Mom?
The fairies.
Oh, and then you use the.
And so they were having an orientation session, the room was packed full of nonprofit professionals, learning this technical, okay, how are we gonna submit this application? And what I found, the speakers all left, and all these nonprofit professionals who stayed in the room just gabbing like crazy. I thought, well, isn't this interesting? You know, we really don't have the opportunity as nonprofit professionals just to come together and meet one another, find out what one another's doing. Hey, how's that program going? How are you doing this? You know, just a broad forum, you know, to be able to do that. And then as Mike had mentioned, I've been serving along with Christy on the Community Council for the Great State Nonprofit Leadership Alliance. And one of the things that they did for students every year is they put together a workshop.
We aspire to be greater leaders, to be better leaders, to be more impactful. You want to be the scribe you're going to explore. Are you that person now? Are you a little mix of both? But are you, what would it take to become the descriptive person in that second, the attributes of a good leader? What would it take for you to become your own emotions? And then I want you to understand your impact on others' emotions.
I'll ask this one question. They've already informed, is your brand. How you present yourself is your brand. And you do it before you can speak. You do it before someone reads your resume. Because even if, okay, so I'll take back, even if they read your resume and you walked in, they lost all that information. They've already made a judgment about you. So let's really talk about that. So when you look at this, artist, retire, right? Yeah. Like really fun of it. You would think, oh my gosh, what did you do this weekend? Where'd you go? And then she starts dancing and you're like, no, same laundry. And you do that this girlfriend, I still do these things. She's probably not going to go back and dress like a if you're more laid back, and your position is such that you need to be very like welcoming and hospitable.
Like I said, I'm on track, fortunately. But you know, not a day goes by that I don't reflect on that. Because when Monday, I lost a client. When you lose a client, and oh, by the way, I had a prospect visit that day with another customer, or prospect, and I didn't sign him up yet. An Antidote to Chaos is written by a guy by the name of Jordan Peterson. He happens to be a psychologist out of Canada. No disrespect for Canadians. Any Canadians in here? Oh, good. That line of reasoning will work then, as far as Canadians are concerned. The title to chapter 4 is Compare Yourself to Who You Were. Make sense? Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. And that's where the personal... Ginger over here is looking for another $2. Anyway, that's the scenario. So take 2, 3, 4 minutes and start writing some elements that you might include in your personal vision. Remember, success, financial success, your business, your role at work.
I've got a hook back here.
It's going to be this side of the room, I think. It's going to be my problem children. So I'm with Sunbelt Business Advisors of Southwest Ohio. I plan in your exit and how you can better prepare for that. So this presentation is actually a 3-hour presentation, and if anyone, my email address is in your packet, and just shoot me a note and say that you guys, say that you want to come, and you're more than welcome. It's a free seminar. There's going to be an attorney, an accountant, and a financial planner there as well to talk through more of those specific areas within exit strategy planning. So your motives are for wanting to sell, and what you need to be doing to have a successful transition, because it really is, you have one chance to sell your business, and the hope is that you can sell it for what that we'll talk about a little later on. It's still currently a seller's market, and really it's been a seller's market for quite some time. There are more buyers out there than there are businesses. Where the national average is still right around a 2.4 based on your cash flow, which we'll talk about more in depth a little later. We're starting to see some businesses where the perfect storm. So this was the article that you guys had, and what this is basically talking about is the number of people that are turning 65 every day is about 8,000. Once that wave hits where those people start retiring and wanting to sell their business, so right now buyers are able to walk away with 85 or 95% of cash at close with a very small seller now. Well, in the 80s, it was
Pretty interested in architecture. Artists.
Using crayons today, so stick with the crayons.
You're amazing. So we're going to give you some time.
Have fun with it.
A logo, a picture that tells the world who you are, and a slogan. And your slogan, come on up here. I love volunteers. Okay, line is do not forget the donuts.